This is a Geek Leader podcast, and I'm your host, John Rauda. This show is all about helping us grow as leaders, become better technologists, and improve our lives both at work and at home. I hope you enjoy the show and learn a lot. Welcome to a Geek Leader podcast. I'm your host, John Rauda. And if you could, please do me a favor and take a moment and leave a rating and review in whatever podcast player you're listening to this on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, doesn't matter. I would greatly appreciate it. And that feedback really helps get other listeners to the show. Also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you feel so inclined, you can go to geekleader.com/tip and donate to the show. Thanks so much. All right, Geek Leaders, today I'm honored to have Magdalene Amegashitsi on the show. She is the founder of Avanade, which is an AI consultancy firm. They do AI consulting, helping business leaders like us figure out what we need to know about AI, and also AI Academy and AI training. So it's going to be a fun conversation. Anyway, with all that being said, Magna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's such a privilege to be on your podcast today. And just to do a quick intro, I'm Magda, and quite ready. I'm the founder and CEO of Avanade Group.
Awesome. If you can tell me a little bit about your background, how you got into AI and AI consultancy, and how you went about starting Anaya.
Oh, lovely. So my background is data and AI. I've worked. So maybe I'll take it a step back, because it's always nice to let people know the journey into data and AI. My first degree was in French and Spanish, nothing to do with data and AI. But my master's degree was in economics, and that focused on the statistic, econometrics, and all of that, which led me nicely into my entire career being data and AI. Moved into the data science space about 10 years ago. And that's where I kind of transitioned fully into the technical side of, the programming side of data science. Worked in consultancy for over the whole time. I've worked across FTSE 100 250 companies. As a consultant. I've worked in various industries: energy, retail, manufacturing, healthcare, all of that. Consulted as either a data and AI specialist, and I help companies with their AI strategy, data strategy, digital transformation, AI adoption, you name it, after moving from the technical side, which is the whole data science piece.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how your data background evolved into AI, because AI is kind of taking the world by storm, and it's one of those things. It's like, I feel like we're in the next industrial revolution that's going on right now.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
If you were in that space before COVID, I remember working with one of my favorite energy companies, and we're already looking at predictive maintenance models. And that's, data science doing predictive models to predict the likelihood of parts of the, machineries in the offshore drilling space, likelihood of them failing, so we can have, replacements. Before COVID. So AI has been around for a while already, and there's been people doing exciting stuff, except that data has increased exponentially, right? So those times we'll talk about big data, and the word big data was scary, but now we're not talking about big data. So there's so much data. And then there's, thanks to these new tools like ChatGPT, everyone is able to create tools, create AI solutions of, these readily open source data and tools around. So that's what's making it even more exciting, because back then it was available but for a smaller audience, for big companies or companies that had the capability to do exciting stuff and had the right people to do it. Now you can do the same thing, but even more. And you can have it done much quicker, and you have even free solutions as well. Yeah. So it's quite interesting. How did I go in? Well, I started as a data scientist. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So when you talk about getting started as a data scientist, and now it seems like data is, that's the difference between a good AI tool and a not so good AI tool is the data behind it, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. It's two things. You can have the best tools, but if you don't have the right data, you know that you've got a problem.
Mhm.
You can also have a lot of data, but if you don't have the best tools, you probably will struggle a bit more because having both is like the best scenario. Having great tools, but having the right data. But if you don't have the best data or you're not able to interpret your data right, then you're not really making the best of your situation. So that's what it is really.
So basically, you're saying we need a mix of having the best data and the best tools. Um, and and when you have that, how is it that like having these tools readily available with like you know I can't. I mean, there's so many different AI tools out there when it comes to
Yeah.
like whether it be Gemini, OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity, whatever. But how have all these availability of tools and the data sets that are there that are now available merging together have helped small businesses? How can small businesses utilize these better now than they could, COVID? Like for example, before COVID, we didn't have all these tools. Now we have these tools and now we have all this data. How can small businesses utilize those better?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is like, now that we have all these tools, whether it be OpenAI, Claude or Gemini or whatever, and we have good data sets now that we maybe didn't have before, and now they're all coming together, prior to, or post COVID, if we talked about before COVID, it was AI,
Yeah.
but we didn't have this availability, but now we do. How can small businesses utilize this today? And what changes have you seen when it comes to the use of this?
Oh, this is such a great question. Because suddenly everybody's got their hands. There's no excuse not to use data. There's
Uh-huh.
no excuse not to maximize what you've got, as in your data, leveraging the amazing tools that is available now. It also means now everybody has it's like the best ingredients to make the best meal in your kitchen, if you can put it
Mm.
that way. So any small business can get hold of a tool that works well for them, that works for, helping them optimize the way they work, create some automation, improve the way they work, and also make it easier for their employees to be able to work more efficiently. So this is more exciting because back then it was a lot more difficult, more cost, those more
Mhm.
cost implications than now. Now you can have. I've seen lots of companies, smaller businesses creating AI agents for specific solutions for smaller businesses instead of relying on the bigger companies like Microsoft to get you an AI agent. It's a lot easier to get that done for you or to have that for yourself based on your business requirement. That's exciting. Everyone has access to AI tools. And the question is how much you want, how much of it you want to use, and also making sure that it serves the purpose of improving the way your business, your team works to get the best outcome for your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I've seen so much use cases and so many new ways of using AI tools that are out there today. But my concern is like, well, what do you say to like business leaders or business owners or executives and larger companies that are fearful of using it because of data leaks or privacy concerns and things like that?
Oh, those are very legitimate concerns, right?
Mhm.
Data leaks, privacy concerns are legitimate. And in fact, you need to make sure you've got your AI governance in place. So any responsible business I'll say business leader or any responsible business wanting to maximize AI would have to be ready to take on some key governance steps. One will be having a comprehensive AI strategy done. A comprehensive AI strategy should consider your governance, should consider your organizational, any organizational changes or that is required to ensure that AI adoption is done responsibly. So that means that your governance, your security, your and everything that that will ensure that business does not compromise on its safety, security are all put in place. Plus, they are not going to lose the value that they should be getting from their AI adoption. So I always say within another group when we're engaging with our clients, consider that AI is an opportunity to enhance your business. What that means is that you want to bring the entire business plus your team on that journey. So this is where it gets exciting. That whole AI adoption journey transforms your business, so you get the best out of your investment in your AI adoption.
So tell me about what that journey looks like. Like if I'm, let's say I'm a small business owner and maybe have 50 to 100 employees, and and we're not using AI tools right now. Maybe we're, I don't know, a media company or a research company, or maybe even just a online retailer, but we're not using AI tools today. I want to start using them. What does that journey look like? Like you mentioned strategy first and governance, and then how does that go? What are the steps?
Awesome. So typically we would encourage having an AI strategy and readiness assessment as the first step. It helps, it has a number of benefits, right? You have a strategic clarity, like clear AI roadmap aligned with your business objectives. You also have the chance to know what those risk mitigations are, a comprehensive assessment of your challenges and opportunities, looking at your particular business, right? Making sure the strategy it's looking at your business and exploring all the risks that might need to be mitigated. We also want to do that executive alignment, so making sure that the leadership, what their vision is when it comes to AI strategy, when it comes to data and AI, all of those are prioritized in that strategy. So we have that leadership consensus on those AI priorities and approach. Then the governance framework that we just talked about, the ethical side of AI, and every business should be considering the AI ethics as key, as foundational really from day one. So we look at all of those things as part of the AI strategy and readiness assessment. And through that as well, we start looking at those use cases or opportunities where we consider highest value for AI adoption. So you would find typically that a business might say, "Oh yeah, there's excitement. Everyone knows this AI. Everyone knows it's gonna make things different and it will improve their business." But some use cases give you more value than others. Some are like low-hanging fruit. So as part of this assessment, we want to pick those and kind of create some sort of cluster, which then goes into that roadmap. And that roadmap is one of my favorites. You just have a view of your more like an implementation roadmap. It could be 6 months, a year, 3 months, 3 years, but you have milestones, right? And you can literally see that those use cases that would require less effort would be much quicker to implement. Probably the data is ready, and you know that you can immediately address some key challenges the business is facing and improve the way that the audience or the team works. You would have them in those early parts of your implementation plan. That center to everything is the value. So we always want to have that value as the key, as part of like center to the entire conversation. And then we've got our team that supports you with the AI solutions, the development and the implementation. We'll have the data and analytics, which is like my foundational skills as well. So we kind of help you create those enterprise grade data that would power your AI success. But underpinning any successful AI solution is data. You want the best data. You want to make sure that that's done well, and it has multiple benefits. You now have as part of your governance alignment, one version of truth for your data interpretation. I've seen in many companies situations where the same data is interpreted differently by different departments, and that's chaos. Okay, so you don't want that. So a good asset strategy ensures that you've identified all these problems that you can address as foundational and critical to ensure that enterprise-wide transformation is successful. And finally, I wouldn't forget that change adoption journey. I mentioned that that's important. You want to take the entire business on that journey. They should be excited and reassured that it's a group effort and group benefits, right? You want to help everyone to come on board with you and alleviate concerns and help everyone to, adopt the solution in a way that ensures growth. So that growth mindset is important as well. So everyone has that mindset of learning, of being ready to learn something new and and having a better ways of working too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, and I have two topics that I really want to drill into here. One is that last one you mentioned, the change adoption journey, and making sure that everyone's on board. Because I think what I've seen a lot of is whenever you roll something out with AI or some new technology, there's a lot of people that get fearful that their job's going to be replaced, and they're not sure how to adopt it. And one of the
Yeah.
things I always try to say to them is like, be the people that learn this and get better at your job versus the ones that get replaced because they didn't learn it. But how do you go about making sure that leaders take that into account and are able to bring everybody on board?
Oh, this is one of my favorite topics all the time because um, for any solution to be successful, for any transformation to be successful, you need to think about your champions within departments, within teams, and you need to empower them to be those who kind of have that close relationship with those who will be most impacted by the changes that you're trying to implement. So there's a whole cultural transformation I'm talking about here. That AI ready culture with high employee engagement is what we're hoping to achieve. So you want to have people at different points who would be supporting that leadership with guiding the entire business on that AI transformation journey. So smooth transitions is key, right? The way you work now and the way you're going to work tomorrow is going to change through a typical AI transformation engagement. So you need to make sure that milestone targets are set and that workflow optimization is clear. Everyone, I mean, there should be opportunities for people to even share their concerns and have those concerns raised in a healthy way, and it can be addressed by those they trust as well, because sometimes there could be a matter of trust as well that comes in. If there's other people, the people in the business that feel that the transformation is going to cost them their jobs, there is likelihood of trust issues going on there. Either the message hasn't been shared correctly or they have not been properly discussed with those that are most impacted. Because fundamental to any business is success for the people, for the business. So if you want the business to be really successful, you want to consider the well-being of your people and working with them so they can ensure the success. That actually reminds me of a project I did many years ago with a retail company, and it was when you have to put decommission old data systems.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a transformation that required entire changes. And I remember a lovely relationship I had with this wonderful gentleman who had been in the business, embedded in the core data business part for over 25 years. And I think he had just about like a few years to retire. So his genuine concern, as I was engaging him to understand how it works and everything, because he understood the data better, he understood the tool, the tool we were trying to commission better than anyone in the business. I realized that he was really concerned that the changes being made he was going to be, made redundant. But to be honest, he was the most needed person in that room at all times, even in looking into the future, because he understood the data. So if he was able to maintain that system that was being decommissioned, and he's been that go-to person for everyone in the business for all these years, the message about trust became very clear. How are you reassuring this person that the same level of skill he has, shown his efficiency, his ability to take care of that part of the business for that long is something inherent, something you would always need no matter what you do, no matter what new system you bring into the business. So I had to bring that whole conversation into the room with some of the business leaders and took them on that journey of a whole adoption and change management training program.
Yeah, I think that's such a key part, and so important to make sure that you have people like that are, the people that do know the data better than anybody else, and making sure that they are the champions that can, carry this through and be engaged in the project and not just fearful. So I think that's super important.
It was even more amazing. And to add to what you just said brilliantly, John, was we realized that by actually adding him to the core team that was signing off the new solution, the new platform, he felt much more reassured. So just placing him where he knew he belonged, not making him an outsider to the new solution that was being, built within the business. He almost felt like he was being pushed out as much as the tool he had, babysat all these years was being decommissioned. He felt like he was being decommissioned. It was awful to feel that way for him. But it's important because we're humans, right? And it's important that we know underlying the success of any business that want to adopt AI and improve their business processes is the people. And you want to make sure you take them on board.
Yeah, I think having that proper communication and including him early on, like you talked about, is what's, probably the key step to making sure that you have total buy-in and have the right people that aren't feeling, like you said, they're not feeling like they're being decommissioned. Instead, they should be feeling like they're being enhanced,
Absolutely.
So another part that I wanted to talk about was the data and analytics part. As you said, that's kind of your forte. And, one of the things that I've struggled with is being able to see because like I use AI and I can see the benefits that I have, but it's hard for me to conceptualize or put that into like a quantity to what do you call it? To qualify that. Yeah. Quantify that.
Oh, right.
So how have you seen like the ROIs and the quantification of the use of AI help small businesses?
Right. This is great because one of the interesting things, because I've done data and AI all my life and I started as a data analyst many years ago. I've seen how typically, I was sharing this with a friend recently, typically 10 years ago or 8 years ago, if you needed to have for a particular for a particular business function, you would need maybe 5 data analysts to help with building your, building insights for your business, right? Building insight from the data from your business. You probably, and it depends on the function and the kind of amount of work, but significantly because of the likes of Copilot, it's reduced that a lot, right? Because if you go into a meeting, and you're immediately able to capture information and summarize, some task and stuff from your meeting, without needing to now transfer the information into data, into a dashboard, and then bring the insights out. So it's kind of helped. It's improved the way people work. It also means that people are able to do more efficient work. So if you typically would have had maybe 5 people doing a particular data and insights work, now you won't have 5. You probably would have 3. However, the other 2 will be able to do something else. When I say something else, there's so many other things that is happening in the data and AI world because there's available tools, right? More people are now able to go into either the leadership side of things or the change management, or actually getting more into the AI solutions, AI agents, and building exciting tools. So it's changed the way people do things. However, if you talk about quantifying, I would say it's more about efficiency. It's about time saved. It's about if you have a good let me say, if you have a good data analyst, that data analyst will still need to make sure they do some, checks from time to time to make sure that what you're automatically pulling out from maybe Copilot for Excel or your Power BI is correct. So that due diligence is so important. But then time efficiency is one of the key things you could definitely rely on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you, as long as you have good measurements in place to baseline, kind of like what your time being spent on certain activities are pre AI and then post AI, you can quantify it that way. That would be a really easy way, I think, to show an ROI for sure.
And yeah, and also I think that the ease of the person or the business leader who is now consuming that dashboard being able to interact with that dashboard, that ease of getting additional information means in the past you'd have had to send that request back to the data team and ask them to give you additional insight. But now you can much easily interact with your dashboard. So there's things like that that has made information much quickly available, plus key decision making can be made sooner than later. So not just for the data team, but also for the leadership team.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what do you recommend as far as like training goes or education when it comes to the leadership team of a company that's getting ready to go through some type of AI transformation?
Oh, that's a good one. So it depends. It depends on, because I always believe that technical leadership is key. I mean, if you're talking about data and AI lead transformation, you would find, and there's statistics that shows this data, there's lots of information that have come out that shows that people who are leading data and AI transformation with little skills in terms of the organizational side of things and leadership side, it's harder for those transformations to be successful. So take, for example, Rand Corporation found that over 80% of AI projects fail. That's twice the failure rate of regular technology projects. But here's what's even more interesting, John. It's not the technology that's failing. It's the leadership and organizational challenges that technical leaders aren't prepared for. So what I'm trying to say is that for an organization that wants to go or undertake an AI and a data transformation, it's important that they have the right skill sets within the leadership team. And I mean is, and I'm going to dig a bit deep into 3 pillars that we've identified as key technical AI leadership pillars. So I'm talking about the technical mastery, which is something a typical person who's started off with hands-on skills or worked within data or AI would have, right? And I'm not talking about being a coder. No, I'm rather referring to the fact that you understand and can express your the technical side to someone else without needing to go into much details, but it should be something that can be explicable and you should be able to explain it. Then there is the business translation, and I think I alluded to that. That is another key pillar that a data and AI transformation leader should have. So being able to bring that conversation to a non-technical audience, being able to use the business language so it makes sense to the wider business, especially when you think about the ROI, the business outcome, and then also making it easy for them to see how it adds value to their everyday life as well in the workplace. Then the third pillar, which we discussed a bit earlier, was that organizational navigation, which is also really important. Yeah. So those 3 are the key pillars, I would say, a technical or a leadership. Technical leadership is required to ensure success with their data and AI transformation. And I can delve a bit deeper.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think you're right about those 3. They kind of divides it out into the 3 areas that are the most important when it comes to mastery and leadership, and then navigating the people, because like we said earlier,
Yeah.
every company is made up of people, and that's the kind of the most important aspect.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about why you started an AI consultancy firm and how you came up with the name and all that aspects.
Oh, thank you. Well, so a bit about my background. So I already mentioned I've worked in consulting for many years, in data and AI. I've done, the best thing about consulting is you learn so much within a short time. You find yourself doing quite a few things. So it kind of broadens your vision when it comes to your area of work. And that for me was AI. So I've worked in roles with, strategy, having those conversations with C-suites, helping them define their vision for their business. And those are quite exciting, right? Just seeing that journey to bring in the business onto that to define what that vision should look like. I've worked with big companies on their AI transformation, and also enjoyed working as a data scientist in my past lives. So with all of that, and also finding that I enjoyed working with businesses, especially leaders who needed support, especially when they needed to move from either mid level or had more technical skills but wanted to move into the leadership side of things, taking them on that journey as well. It made sense for me um to branch out and take on a new challenge, I would say, because owning your own business became more of a new exciting for me. But also because I thought I would love to have an academy. So what Anaya Group is fundamentally a data and AI consultancy, but we're also building our AI academy, which is meant to support various segments, right? So I've talked about the business in enterprise, which is the business, those who are working in AI leadership, providing them with their AI leadership excellence, helping with ROI driven outcomes. Because one of the things we noticed is people are keen to adopt AI, excited, but companies that ditch their AI plans or projects midway or something is because they probably chose the wrong solutions, or they did not properly define that return on investment or the value. So there's the need to have a bit more thinking done at the beginning before you decide whether the solution is worth embarking on. That's this gig, the excitement of bringing a new tool and it's going to do this exciting thing. But it takes a bit of experience to know actually you might be better off focusing your effort on doing more of, shaping your data first, or shaping your data space first, or getting the team trained so they're adequately prepared to take on that new challenge. So there's quite a few things around that business and enterprise side of things that we always seek to explore with our businesses. And then there is the mission critical professionals. So I've worked with businesses on the ethical AI side of things, and it's going to be more and more uh, prevalent, I think, important for businesses. So that piece is important for me on two levels: individual levels and team levels. Individually, you need to be responsible and you need to be aware of where we're going as a society. Let me put it that way, because we have our data out there anyway, and you can't live on an island and not share your information out there. So there's a need to be aware of what tools you're using personally, and then also within your business, within your role, within any company, there are some important regulatory compliances, much as the company is, by default needed to provide you with that. You should also empower yourself with these things. And there are individuals who also want to learn and be in that position where they can provide that support to their business. So they become more valuable to the business, right? The business will be happy to pay them more because they've got that ethical or compliance focus added to their skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also support, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, so we've got 4 segments and I've just shared the first 2. And we've got now the personal and lifelong learners, which would fall into my parents. My parents are 70s and they're excited about ChatGPT, but nothing else. And that's great, right? But there's that flexible self-paced learning opportunity for people who just want to feel more confident and get excited about the world that we are all creating consciously and subconsciously too. And then there's the young ones. So we're working on the educational ecosystem to support the teachers, the professionals who are also like being empowered to better support the young minds who are out there exploring AI.
How do you think we should address the young ones? The teaching of AI services in schools and colleges today, because I know I've seen very different approaches where some schools are like basically banning the use of AI, and other schools are embracing it and making assignments that use it and things like that. What do you think it should fall?
Yeah, this is quite a good question because I'm thinking if you ban it, does that stop the child from using it somewhere else? Or does it stop the whole world, all the schools from banning it? Or are you rather disadvantaging that child because that tool is meant to empower the child? So I think it's the education side because the two sides to the story. You're banning the child from using the tool because they would very easily find the answer to a solution. They should be thinking and allowing their brain to do that work, right? But you can still train the child to do that learning, to have that ability to think, and then teach them how to use the AI responsibly so it doesn't go to their detriment. Because I'm a parent and I'm genuinely also concerned about my kids building their thought process and being able to think for themselves without very readily relying on ChatGPT or any other tool that would provide them with that information. So I think it's more about responsible use of these tools and having that fine balance and teaching them to rather be more empowered by the tool rather than become absolutely reliant on it.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the whole thing, is just to let people be empowered by it, but not rely upon it. And
Yeah.
there's a balance that has to go on where I think maybe schools need to have some assignments that are AI free and other assignments that are, AI encouraged.
Yeah. How exciting that would be just to tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I teach
Yeah.
part-time at Winthrop University, and one of the things that I have my students do is early on in their, this is in like computer science 101, I'll have them like, the first couple of assignments, they're building a website from scratch, not using AI tools, writing their own HTML, their own CSS.
Yeah.
And then they're taking that same code that they wrote and putting it into AI to fix it and then enhance it using AI tools. So they kind of get to see the advantage of both, like what it's like to do it without it, what it is with it, and kind of learn on the process. And I think that's an important step.
I completely agree with you, John. The last 2 months, I decided I'll build the Anaya old website myself. And I didn't want to use an AI tool. I actually felt I wanted to learn doing it manually. And much as it was painful, it was exciting because it's again, like you just described, once I go get an AI tool to optimize it, I can actually appreciate all the hard work and still say, well, I did this myself. So there's that sense of accomplishment that we shouldn't lose because it feels different when you do something yourself.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Yeah, Magda, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate having you on and sharing your insights on AI and the things that we as business leaders and tech leaders need to be paying attention to and noticing and working towards. How can people, if they're interested in learning more and connecting with you online, how can they do that?
Absolutely. I'm available on LinkedIn and my website is www.anaya.org. And my name, you can find me on LinkedIn, Magdalene Amegashitsi. And we'll have our Anaya algorithm podcast coming out soon that will be having conversations with tech leadership and transformation leaders, actually, to talk about their own journeys and educating the public about successful AI transformations learnings. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'll link that in the show notes too at geekleader.com so people can go there and connect with you. Again, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much, John. It was such a pleasure, and I totally enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Please go to geekleader.com to learn more about what this guest is up to, click on their links, and connect with them online. I would also greatly appreciate it if you could leave me a rating and review in Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't already. And if you feel so inclined, you can leave me a tip by going to geekleader.com/tip.